Hello, I'm Jackie Roby, Chief Excellence Officer at Inspire Journey Consulting, and I am so grateful to have Linden Schaffer, the founder and CEO of Pravassa, back with us again.
Hi.
Hello. So we have learned some of the most extraordinary things that you do, Pravassa's journeys, Wonder Home, how you can experience this digitally. I would love to know an example from, travels and from your clients that's transformational that you could share with us.
Sure. What's really interesting is a lot of the transformation happens when clients come home. And the thing that one has to understand about the kind of travel that Pravasa does and transformational travel in general is when you're gone 7 day, 10 day, 14 day, doesn't matter. You create this very dynamic bubble. And when you work with a company like Pravassa, we provide a very safe place for you to step outside of your comfort zone. So what ends up happening when you travel with Pravassa is because we take care of all the details. What starts to happen is space starts to open up for you to think about and ruminate on things you constantly push to the side. So those of us experiencing isolation in the pandemic might be very familiar with this feeling, right? When the world around you stops, all of a sudden you're left with what's going on in your head. And oftentimes when we're in our daily routine and we have a million things going on, we're like, I won't deal with that. I don't have time. So what happens when you enter the space of having this transformational vacation? These things start to present themselves, and they can present themselves in interesting ways and unexpected ways while you're having an incredible vacation experience. And that's not to say these are negative things, they could be very positive things. So when it comes to transformation, what we tend to see is people's eyes open up when they're on the road. So when they're eating food that's they're like, oh, this is so amazing. And then you have this conversation of, well, it's fresh, it's local, it's organic. And it's like, wow, I didn't realize food could taste this good, right? So there's small little transformations like that that start to open up and show themselves while you're traveling. And then what happens is people come home, they feel so changed, they feel so recharged, they start to look around their world and their habits, and they say, how do I integrate what just happened back home? Because that was such a good feeling. You want to capture and keep that feeling. So we've had clients do so many amazing things, again, from little things. We had a woman write us about a month after she went home and said, you taught me I could shop at the farmer's market. I've never shopped at the farmer's market before. I just assumed it was really expensive. She said, but I do it. I've gotten to know my farmers. I can feel like I'm part of the community. And she's now feeding her family this food. So it has even more ripple effects than she's the only one that went on that vacation. But look how her ideas expanded to her family.
Oh,
So that's one example that I just love because I think it's so simple. And it's something in that kind of respect, everyone can find a little thing like that that can make such a huge impact. We do tell people when they come home, take a month before making any major life transitions, because you're in that little bubble when you travel, right? And so, people come home like, I'm quitting my job, I'm moving, I'm getting divorced, I'm getting married, I'm doing that, whatever it is. And a lot of times those things do end up happening, but you want people to be very intentional about it and not reactive, because we still have to come back to the world that we do live in.
I love that you added that because I can imagine. I mean, I can see myself doing it, and I think that's when you get that time. There's something so special about just having the time to think,
Yeah.
right? Getting that time separate from your normal everyday, and then the way you're in setting up this intentional traveling really puts you in a space that can change you.
Hmm.
And I think that's beautiful. And the woman with the farmers market, she's not only rippling to her family, but her community.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an incredible thing. And then as she continues to share that, and obviously as well as that local economy.
Hmm. Exactly.
Yeah, gorgeous.
Yeah.
So tell us now, what do you do for self-care?
So I'm a big outdoor person, and it's part of the reason I moved to California 2 years ago because I love to be outside and I love to connect with nature. So whether that's hiking or going to the beach or just being surrounded by things that are bigger than me, the trees, the mountains, things like that, definitely is a form of self-care for me. I do sort of your typical wellness things when you think about health and wellness. Yoga, meditation, journaling, those kinds of things are part of my routine. And recently, something that I've been doing more and more is a very strong digital detox, and not your typical digital detox of like staying off your phone or whatever. I have had some deep periods lately of going into complete silence. And like 24-hour periods of shutting everything down, and reading a book or doing something that just gets me out of all the noise. There's so much noise right now from so many different places. And
Mhm.
I think it's really important. And I think we're in such an amazing place in history where things are really changing, but it's hard and it's uncomfortable and it's tough. And I think for me, the fastest way to sort of recalibrate and be ready to continue the conversation is to completely shut down for a little bit and really just go inward. So that's something that, I've done various meditation retreats at various times and in different places around the world. But to be at home in silence for 24 hours is something new and very powerful that I've been diving into.
Mm. I think
And I
that
don't have kids, so that will probably tell you how I can do that.
yeah, I appreciate that. But I think that's a really beautiful approach, and honestly, um, it's new. I haven't heard anybody really taking it to that level of extent, and I think that's inspiring to try, and something
Yeah.
we could all challenge ourselves to do. Just get the kid to be quiet for 24 hours if you. I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't know. Ours is like a vampire. She's up all night and sleeps during the day.
Oh, she must be a teenager.
Yeah, it's tween time. It's tween time.
Yes, there you go.
All right. So, in your typical everyday practice, because we know that during this season things are not typical, how are you encouraging your team to practice self care?
Hmm. Well, and it's interesting because this is something that I've always felt. I am not a micromanager. Everyone who tends to work for Pravassa is female. And I really feel very strongly in terms of empowering other women. And I also want to empower strong women who know what they need. And that is a big, in the wellness world, like being in touch with that is very important. So I don't set hours. People can work when they want, when they feel they're most productive, as long as they get their stuff done. So I feel very empowering if somebody says to me, "Hey, I'm not working today." Like, great. I'm so glad you recognize that you need time to yourself to do whatever you need. And I think that's really important. We talked previously about the new digital program, Wander Home, that we launched.
Mhm.
And so everyone on the team, of course, has unlimited access to that. So we'll sneak away and do a sound healing or a mindful walk or something that's in one of these programs, that allows us to further that self care, with the incredible experts that we work with. So those are really important for sure.
That's beautiful. It really is. So, when your team came on, did they ask you how much vacation time they got and how much unpaid vacation they take?
Right, that's my number one question. Yeah, it's unlimited. I mean, we don't have that. It's a very, like I said, we're very empowered, and people work, because they're passionate about this, and because we don't have a central office. I mean, we're in a travel industry business, so either we're on the road or we're working wherever it works for us. So that's something too. This day and age, unfortunately, we're always connected, right? And so for our people who work for Pravassa, we've had people like, "Hey, I'm going on a ski vacation this week, and I'm going to dedicate 2 hours every morning before I go skiing to work." I'm
Mhm.
like, "Great, that's fine. I don't care." If that's what makes you happy and you get done what you need to get done, great.
I have a feeling anybody who watches this in travel is going to be like, "Are you hiring?"
Once we all start traveling again, I would love to. Yes.
um, so last thing, I want a travel dream, right? So, where are you either dreaming of going that you've been before or that you want to explore?
Hmm. So one of the places that I had wanted to explore, I was lucky enough right before the pandemic hit, I had just gone to Bhutan, which
Mm.
is absolutely magical for so many reasons. And I would love to go back because I was only there for 6 days, which is not long enough to really dive into the culture. So I would love to go back and experience that. But a place that's really close to my heart, which shockingly I have not been in 11 years, is Argentina.
Mm.
And that's because my husband is Argentine, and for years before I had my travel business, we would go to Argentina 1 or 2 times a year. And then I started traveling for work, and so that was not a place that happened to be on my list. So it's a place that I've been dreaming of because I know in the 11 years since I've been there, it's dramatically changed.
Mm.
We still have friends and family there, so it would be nice to be able to reconnect with them. And Buenos Aires specifically is a place that is really close to my heart, and going back and seeing that and experiencing it again is something that's high on my list.
All right, now I have one more question for you because you inspired me
Sure.
to ask something else. So, when you're going to explore and really have that great transformational experience, how many days do you recommend somebody takes?
Well, it's complicated, right? Because we live in a society here where we don't get a lot of vacation. It depends how far you're going. If you're going to Asia, which is where we do a lot of travel for our clients, 14 days is recommended. Now, I know that's for some people their entire vacation. If you want to put that into 10 or 12 days, then I would not do less, just because even though we have tips and tricks to prepare you to prevent and overcome jet lag really quickly, you can still be affected by it. So you need your system to recalibrate. And if you're going for 6 or 7 days to Asia, you don't even have time to recalibrate, right? And so you're not going to dive in and get the full experience. Mexico is also a place that we work. I love the Yucatan and Oaxaca and some of the inner towns and pueblos in Mexico. From LA and from New York, you could, depending on how you set your flights up, you could do that for 5 days and really get 4 immersive days
Mm.
and without the jet lag.
Love that. Thank you. Um, I mean, you're incredible, and I have a million more questions for you, but let you get back to your day. So thank you again, and
Thank you.
check out Pravassa, pravassa.com, on social media, on Instagram. I'll tag them everywhere because you're phenomenal. So thanks
Thanks so much.
again.
Thank you.